More than 8 years after the release of Chivalry Medieval Warfare, we will finally get a sequel this month. With Chivalry II, the developers want to bring epic medieval movie battles back to PC and console. But what can you expect from the game? Is it better than the prequel, and how good are the gameplay mechanics compared to other games of the genre? Let's have a look. Chivalry II is a medieval multiplayer slasher that can either be played in first-person or third-person perspective and was inspired by large-scale medieval movie battles like the Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones or the Battle of Helm's Deep in The Lord of the Rings. The story is set 20 years after the events of the first game and continues the fight between the Agatha Knights and the Mason Order. The battles will be fought on 8 different maps that will be available at launch, with more maps coming afterwards. 5 maps are really large-scaled and can be played in the team objective mode with up to 64 players, in which you have to complete different objectives in order to progress through the map. Tearing catapults, smashing gates, setting fire to villages or camps, killing the heir to the throne, or stealing the gold of the enemy team are just a few of the missions you and your team have to complete on a single map. The other 3 maps are available for Team Deathmatch and Free for All, which is a duel mode where you only have to battle one player at a time if everyone sticks to the rules at least. During battles there are 4 different classes available: the Knight, the Vanguard, the Footman and the Archer, with over 60 different weapons from bows over swords to battle axes and lances. Each of them having different advantages and disadvantages, and it is definitely worth to unlock and try all of them to find the best loadout for your playstyle. If these weapons are not enough or you want to try something new, you can either pick up weapons from fallen soldiers, or you can pick up a lot of other things to fight with during battles, like a chicken, a candlestand, a pitchfork or a cartwheel, to name just a few, and throw them at the enemy. If you want to express yourself with words as well, you can still do this with the many voice commands and battle cries. To give your characters an even more unique touch, you can also customize them in different ways with armor and weapon skins, hairstyle and color, face paint and so on. A lot of these cosmetics are included in the game already and will be unlocked by increasing your world rank. New weapons, gadgets and soldier loadouts can be unlocked with the class ranks and only by playing the game. There is no pay to win. There is of course an in-game currency for microtransactions, but this is only for cosmetic items and is a common thing in multiplayer games by now. Compared to its prequel, Chivalry II definitely has improved, and the devs learned a lot from the community's feedback to Chivalry I, especially when it comes to the combat system. In Chivalry I, attacks and animations felt much more clunky and were harder to read for the opponent. Not to mention the crazy spin moves that some players discovered were possible and that have been used excessively sometimes. With Chivalry II, the devs wanted to make sure that combat is faster, more fluent, feels fairer and is more readable to other players. You have more control over your weapon and each fight itself. The immersive sounds and effects also ensure that you can easily detect where every one of your hits lands. In addition, you can also bleed out while fighting now, for example if an enemy chops off your arm or if you are heavily wounded. Then you still have a short time frame to hit back and kill your opponent, which will prevent you from dying. While bleeding out or when you got hit, you can also heal yourself with bandages that you can refill at the supply stations. If you are knocked down, you can crawl over to one of your teammates and might be lucky to get a revive. Compared to its general competitor Mordhau, Chivalry II still feels a bit more clunky, slow and casual, which is nothing bad. Mordhau is simply more competitive, but also more sweaty, and you have to invest more time to get better and learn the game's mechanics. Chivalry II is more beginner and casual friendly. The whole combat system is much more simple and you won't have as many options to customize your loadout. There's only 4 classes with different settings and weapons you can choose. But Chivalry II is definitely loads of fun, especially if you just want to hack and slay in the evening or on the weekend and you don't want to be matched into a sweatfest. It comes with some really good looking maps that are very atmospheric and perfectly fit the genre. The sound design is great, the combat is easy to learn and the classes are well balanced and support a variety of playstyles. For new players, there's a full tutorial that can be replayed at any time, with which you learn all basic gameplay mechanics and combat options. And there's good news for all players that don't like a level cap in games: Chivalry II doesn't have a maximum level. Instead, it has crossplay between all platforms to provide full servers at any time. If you play on console, you can choose if you want to enable it or not. Two other things that should be mentioned are that the game will have a live service, so more maps, game modes, weapons, cosmetics and also horses will be added after the release. And the devs want to include modding tools later on, so members of the community can mod the game as they like. Chivalry II will be released on June 8 for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series. On PC it is exclusive to the Epic Games Store for 1 year before it will be available on Steam or other launchers. The game will be available in 2 different versions, as a standard edition for $35 and as a special edition for $45, which includes armor and weapon skins for both factions and in-game currency. If you pre-order the game, you will receive the Royal Zweihander as bonus for both versions. And that's it for today. I hope this video gave you a good overview of Chivalry II and helps you to decide if it is the right game for you or not. If it did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.